Good evening, Sword Family. Welcome to the Teahouse. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the various different tones in the Chinese language. And I might need a little bit of a favor from the audience, whether that's the audience here live or the audience possibly watching in the future. I had a guest set for either next week or the 25th for tea time. But it's a very complicated time of the year for them during this month. And so we decided to reschedule for March. So if anyone listening, like I said, either now or in the future, knows of any women or female presenting person who would be willing to come on here and be interviewed by me for the 25th of January. And it doesn't have to be a martial artist. Excuse me. It can be any type of creative person at all. I mean, we had Aunt Donna on, and other than some SCA stuff, we mostly talked about her Viking heritage and stuff like that. So if anyone has anyone they can think of that, I mean, I could possibly interview Foxy, but that would be kind of silly. It'd be kind of silly to do, over StreamYard if she could just sit here on the couch behind me and we could do it right here. And most of the answers to that question would be, me. So if anyone knows of anyone, they could have them get a hold of me. I would really appreciate that. Now that we have that out of the way. Yes, I still have the cough. Yes, my voice is still kind of ragged. I'm hoping it goes away at some point, but I'm dealing with it. And a little PSA. About my tea from last week that I was apparently unaware of, that actually Foxy informed me of. It's not actually black currant tea. It is black tea with currant flavor. So that would explain why it kind of made her hyper later in the evening, because she tried some and I didn't realize that it was just black tea with flavoring, and black tea is highly caffeinated. So that was kind of interesting. So let's get through the comments here. And there we go. All right. First through the door at Sorry about that. I thought we had that figured out, but I guess not. And Dan is joining us. Good evening, Dan. And Foxy greeting Dan and and wondering how we're feeling. Well, yeah. Still got a cough. It's not keeping me up at night, but it's not pleasant either. And speak of the auntie, Aunt Donna joins us, greeting Foxy and Dan. And Dan greeting Donna. Typo. Yes, it's Donna. I would hope so. Figured, but I had to say it. Still got the blasted cough, and she thinks she's catching something else, but I'm doing better. Still not, done, but and Rich is joining us, my previous tea time guest. Hello. And Donna greets Rich, and Foxy greets Rich. Sorry to hear you're still under the weather. Yeah, this one's been, it's been holding on. Dan greeting Rich. And Donna, poor Foxy, yes. Me too. I can certainly say those sneezing fits with a broken nose is not pleasant. In better news, Inigo got 2 new stuffed animals to destroy. And is happily accomplishing the task. Yeah, no kidding. We got him this big snake. There was actually 2 stuffed animals kind of twisted into one. And he ripped that thing's head off within just like half an hour. And Ruby is here. Hi, Ruby. Joy gave me a link for the channel. Good. Glad you're here. Joy is a friend of ours. I'm not going to dox them because they might not want me to, but yeah. And Dan greets Ruby, and Foxy greets Ruby. Thank you for joining us. Yes, she's a friend. And Donna greets Ruby. Cool, Bingos. How was everyone's day? Pretty good, but cold. Yeah, no kidding. 28 right now and windy, and the wind is cold. That wind sucks. I was just out there taking the dog out before the show so he can hopefully destroy his new stuffed animals in peace, and my hand is still cold. Just gotta run by cuddling by charcoal. Blah, 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 blah. Foxy is bundled up in bed. Yes. LOL. And Sarah is here. Hello, sis. How you doing? Listening mode. Good. Love your mom. Now off to 4-man chaos. That's just a cat 24/7 though, isn't it? Because cat. I don't know. And Kitty is here. Hello, love. Hello, Kitty. And my other patron, Joe Bachman from the Independent Creator Directory. Good evening, folks. Good evening, Joe. Hopefully Trey is here because she said she had questions on this topic. So hopefully she's here somewhere. Probably head down to my actual PC. That's probably a good idea. Dan greeting Joe. So right, Foxy, yeah. And Foxy and Donna both greeting Kitty and Joe. Foxy remembers having cats, precious little bundles of chaos. And Carl is joining us. Hello, everyone. Hello, Carl. Ruby says, bad with online handles. I tend to remember people by the names I get introduced to. That's not really all that unusual. Yeah, you're fine. Donna's stealing Foxy's job. Don't forget to like and share. Yes, please. It's, Donna greeting the Witsman dude. And there's Trey. Good evening all. Glad you're here because you said you had questions. And I like answering questions. Foxy greeting Carl and Donna greeting Trey. And sounds like Foxy is safer in bed. Yeah. Yes, we did. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. So don't know if bed is any safer for the dogs in here. Well, not always graceful with words. This is true. Maybe Amanda, I asked in a roundabout way, and she said she didn't feel comfortable because she doesn't think that she has enough information on the topic to feel like she can speak on it as an expert. I don't really agree, but I'm not going to push. I would love to, but she already said no, so I'm going to. But, if other people want to push, if other people want to pester, I'm not going to. Good idea, yeah. Still good tea, yeah. It's good. It's just temporary tech. Yeah, I thought we had figured that out with this Opera browser, but I guess it's still. I mean, it is kind of windy out there, so that might be it. But hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, it won't be too bad. So I thought, yeah. Poor stuffed duck is being beheaded. Oh, Lord. Okay. Rich managed to stuff 15% more than $100 worth of stuff in the paper bag, 15% sale, and using all that to organize my own. Okay. Nice. Way to go. Nice. Maybe do a panel. I could, but I'm kind of wanting to save my panel nights for after I get the individuals done. But it's a good idea. It's just I reached out to someone in December that's not part of, this group, but it's someone that I've been friends with on Facebook for a while. And I honestly didn't expect them to agree, because from what I see on Facebook, they're incredibly busy. They teach out of their apartment. They also ride a bike to a local HEMA club once a week and teach in person. And from what I've gleaned from various Facebook posts, they seem like a very interesting person. And they have some physical limitations. And I think it'd be really interesting to talk to them. So I asked them in December, and within, I think, like half an hour, they agreed. And I was like, oh my God. So, and originally we were going to do it, in January. But then I didn't hear from them for several weeks. So I got a hold of them earlier this week and asked about doing it either on the 18th or the 25th of this month. And they came back and asked me if we could postpone until March to try and get out of the winter months, because they have, like I said, they have their own physical limitations. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but they have some limitations that get worse in the winter. And they also have some traumas around January that made it so they didn't think that they could be fully here for the interview. So I agreed to push it back until March. But keep an eye open for that, because I'm really hoping that by talking to that person, I'm going to be able to get other people within their orbit to come on and talk. So hopefully I'll have, several months worth of one-on-one interviews, and then possibly we can go into panel shows. If you need, Foxy says, I can come and sit in there and be interviewed. We'll talk. Excuse me. If worse comes to worse, I might just have to do that. We'll see. Just expect me to be a bit twitchy, as opposed to every other day, time, month, year. Sarah went to Big Lots and gave my hello. Wonder how many other ghosts of Big Lots Past has come in and said hello. Ghosts of Big Lots Past. I guess that would make Foxy a ghost of Kmart's past. Don't mind twitchy, yeah. We would just have to maybe set the camera up on the card table that we use for all of our other various artistic endeavors. Maybe set the camera up in the middle and have each of us sit on either side of the table. Maybe we could do it that way. I don't know. We'll see. And just for fun, if you don't feel comfortable being on, being on camera, you still have your little fox mask that I gave you for Christmas a few years back. Donna greeting Sarah. Okay. Now, why was my messenger going off? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. Oh, I would like to interview Amanda, especially since I'm hoping to get Nick to be my February interview. So like I said, I'm trying really, really hard to switch off male and female. So I have an equal number, or as equal as possible. I think I'd be more annoyed with the mask with my nose. Well, yeah, right now, but that's like 2 weeks from now. Because everyone has seen me, so I think I'll be okay. All right, that's fine. Next week, I have a topic. And it's kind of stemming from something that Ruby said at the Historical Fencing Guild show yesterday. But we'll get on that later because we're 20 minutes in here already. So we're going to be talking about tones tonight. Now, languages have always been a passion of mine. I took Spanish in 6th grade because it was offered. I took it again in 9th grade. So I had 2 years of Spanish, and my 6th grade Spanish teacher, when my mother went in for parent-teacher conference, argued with my mother, the person that gave birth to me, that I had to be Spanish because he has never seen a non-Spanish speaker pick up. No, sorry, correction. That was my 9th grade Spanish teacher. Sorry. But he has never seen a non-Spanish speaker pick up the language quicker than people who speak Spanish at home. I had 2 people in that class who spoke Spanish at home, and I spoke better Spanish than they did. And then high school, you had to have 2 years of a foreign language. I already had 1 year of Spanish. I didn't want to take another year of Spanish. And the only other thing that was offered was German. I took 2 years of German. I didn't do as well at German as I did at Spanish. But right now, currently, and yes, Trey, at the same time, I am on Duolingo, brushing up on my Mandarin Chinese, brushing up on remembering my Spanish, and learning Scots Gaelic for the very first time. I've never learned Gaelic. And wow, Gaelic has been a trip, man. But all that to say, I like languages. How's the nose? It's getting there. It's getting better. Less swollen, but very sore. Been sneezing a lot at night. Imagine how that's going. Yeah. Some people just do better with languages. I used to be the same way. All right, cool. Boxy's not that way. Well, it would help if you actually did your damn lessons and didn't go on month-long streaks without ever getting on the damn program. Yes, I'm calling you out in front of the internet. Do your lessons. The standard... Yes, I called her up. The standard English alphabet has 26 letters. Each letter has a sound, except for vowels, which have 2 sounds. And you put those letters together to form words. That's kind of how it works. Chinese does not have letters. It has characters, like those right there. See those? And those up there. Those are characters. Each character represents a word, a full word or a thought. And each character has its own sound. So that right there says Qia Guan. Qia is tea, and Guan is house or hall or, building. So Jia Guan, Teahouse. There you go. Joe used to be better at learning other languages. Granted, those were computer languages. Well, Ooh, yeah. Irritates me when they change. It irritates me too. And I've still got a 15, almost 1,600 day streak. Trey took 3 years of German, 4 of French, then switched to ASL because that was all muscle memory. Yeah, all right. Love languages until I squirrel and forget I was studying one or 8 at the same time. I'm doing 3 at the same time. So, of course, 2 of them are reviewing because I did learn a fair bit of Mandarin back when with my first Shifu. I learned some Mandarin with him. So it's more brushing up there. Of course, now I'm getting into the lessons with, stuff I didn't learn. And you get frustrated. I know, but when you were doing it fairly oh God, I just had my own. See, when this happens to me, Yes, thank you. Consistent. When you were doing it consistently, you were doing well. And we could have short conversations. And that's how you learn, by, conversing with someone. When that happens to me, I call it forgetting English, because I am learning 3 languages at the same time. And sometimes I forget a word in English, but I can say it in, Mandarin. But 26 letters in the standard alphabet. Anybody want to hazard a guess how many characters are there in the Asian language? While we wait for a guess, learning a language is easier if you have a reason to learn it, like a trip or for a job. For some people, I do it for fun. I do it because I have friends all over the world, and to be able to, I learned Portuguese because I was dating a girl that spoke Portuguese. Now, granted, a lot of the Portuguese that I learned was not exactly safe for work. I learned what I like to call pillow talk Portuguese. But, yeah. 50 is a good guess. 3,000 is a good guess. Maybe that was Japanese. Okay. There are between, at the low end, 7,000, and at the high end, over 106,000 characters in just Chinese. The high end, over 106,000. So there is no way that you're going to be able to have a unique sound for that many characters. You're going to have to repeat sounds, which is why you end up with tones. You can have several different characters, you can have several different characters using the same sound, but a different tone. Yeah, that's a lot. I know. I actually had to look this up. I did research for this show for you people because I had no idea how many there actually were. WTF, yeah. How many people learn them all? Not many. Most people, most native Mandarin and Cantonese speakers, because we'll get into that a little bit later, they learn around between 5,000 and 7,000. But to be able to understand, like if you're reading Chinese, you honestly do not need more than like 3,500, I think is what I read. Yeah, research, because I had to look this information up because I was thinking about it. Like, how many characters actually are there? I believe the actual term for that number is a metric fuck ton. So you're not wrong. Donna, being a Sagittarius, I used to be good at language. I even learned Greek. Nice. Thanks to the massive steroids after my accident, I can't remember squat. Yeah. My niece, Foxy's brother's stepdaughter, is also on Duolingo. She sent me a friend request last year, maybe the year before, something like that. And she's learning Latin in a household that is obsessed with Japanese. Her brother loves anime, so he wants to learn Japanese, and his wife is the biggest chameleon I've ever met, so she wants to learn Japanese. and her daughter picks Latin. So the last time Foxy went down for a visit, I told her, ask her for me why she wanted to learn Latin. And the answer she gave, oh my God, I've never been more proud of a child that I was not directly related to in my entire life. She said the reason she wanted to learn Latin was that she wanted to understand where all language came from. Holy crap. That is a beautiful. Sorry about that. That is a beautiful answer. I just had to gush over that. Learning to read? No. Once you get basic characters down, it's really not that hard. Well, he did say metric, so I'm going to go with Canadian. Saw that English has nearly 1 million words, but only use 10,000 or fewer their whole life. Probably true. That kid is going places. I know, right? From a 16-year, actually, I think at the time she was 15, something like that. Mini break for cough, yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen too many more times. It was exactly why I wanted to learn Latin, but it wasn't offered yet. My options were Spanish and German. And in the German class, we did a short unit on Japanese because my German teacher's fiance and future husband learned Japanese, and so he would come in and do a short lesson on Japanese. So that was kind of fun. Have a friend who's fluent in Latin and oh my God, Welsh. Oh boy. Sarah was around. Nice. Can you tell what tones to use by how the characters are formed? Okay. No. Welsh is interesting, yeah. All right, we're more than a half hour into this. Spanish was the only thing offered yet. There are 5 tones in the Chinese language. And your tone is always going to fall on a vowel, but not always on the same vowel. The sound that most people learn at the beginning to learn this is ma. M-A, ma. So that's what we're going to talk about for tones because that's the first thing that you always cover when you're talking about tones. I don't know why, but it is. So, your first tone is a long, flat vowel. That's 1. So that sounds like ma. Excuse me. Ma, ma. You notice the A stays flat and even throughout the end. Ma. That is the character for mother. Ma means mom. Your second tone is a rising vowel. So when you're speaking in English and you ask someone a question, you notice your voice goes up. It's the difference between hello and hello. Notice the voice raises. That's your second tone. So it sounds, oh, excuse me. It almost sounds like you're asking a question. So your second tone sounds like ma, ma. It starts down here and raises up. Ma. Ma means hemp. Now, interesting how mother is similar in so many different languages. Yes. One of the easiest sounds to make. It really is. Your third tone is going to be a combination of your second tone and your fourth tone. So your vowel is going to start high, drop, and then go back up. So the way that first tone is flat and even, ma, this one goes ma, ma. It starts high, drops, and goes back up. Ma. That means horse. Ma. Donna did very well, but I've been kind of speaking it since my foster brother was in Puerto Rico and Ecuador. He was in the Peace Corps when I was in the 4th grade. Nice. That's cool. So now your fourth tone is going to be a dropping vowel. It's going to be the opposite of your rising vowel. So that's going to go ma, ma. And your fifth tone is a neutral vowel. There are words there are words, characters in the Chinese language that do not have a tone. They do not have an accent over the letter. We'll go over that in a minute. So your fifth tone is just going to be without any discernible change in the pronunciation of the tone. And that's just ma. Just flat. It's different than ma. It's just ma. And that does not necessarily denote a word. That is a question. So if I were to say, 你叫什么? Ni means you. 叫 is well, actually, it's 你叫什么 means what are you called? So you know 什么, that's a question. So it's basically what's your name. It's a more informal way of asking what's your name. It's what did you called? Or what are you called? Not what did you called. So those are your 5 tones. Ma, flat, long vowel. Ma, rising vowel. Ma, combination vowel. Ma, dropping vowel. And ma. No discernible tone. Those are your 5 tones. Sarah had a lot of Mandarin speaking students at the U of I. A nurse came next to me and said, so, and I said, so what? And she said, that's his name. So I wanted to slink down under my, yeah. Understandable. I bet he understood. I bet it was. Didn't look at him on purpose. in a room packed with student paid. Yeah. People might have thought you were asking for a full name. That's true. Very true. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up to show just a basic idea. I'm going to share screens here for a second and show you. No, not that one. That one. Okay, yeah. So this shows you the 5 tones. And you can see, maybe you can see. Can I make this any bigger? Probably not. Okay. So you look at this. This is tone 1. And there's a straight line over the A. That denotes a word with a first tone. Hope you can see this, because I know it's kind of small on the screen, but hopefully you can see it. Above the A in the second tone, you have an accent that is rising, like I said before. Third tone, you have a dropping and rising accent. Fourth tone, you have a dropping accent. And fifth tone, you have no accent over the vowel. That's how you know what tone to use when you're speaking the language. Now, you may also see a let me bring you back over here. Hopefully you can see that. Pinyin, the Chinese, zhong with a 1 next to it, and wen with a 2. So that means if you see a word with a 1 after it, that means first tone. You see a word with a 2 after it, that means second tone. So this word would be zhong wen, zhong wen. Your O is going to have a flat long vowel, zhong, zhong, and your wen is going to have a rising vowel on the E, wen, zhong wen. So if you see a word with a number next to it, that's also denoting the tone without using an accent mark. Because not every keyboard is going to have the ability to make the accent marks. You actually have to know a little bit of coding to put the accent marks. So if you don't want to do that, you can just put numbers next to it. Shape of the accent is literally how the tone sounds. Exactly. Yes. It's showing you how to pronounce that vowel. Just that vowel. Like I said, it's always on a vowel, but not always on the same vowel. For instance, I'm actually going to bring this back up. The first, well, actually, no. The first word that I learned, actually, I can show you that too, just because it's fun. The first character that I ever learned is this guy right here, which has a third tone. Look at that. You can even click this little button.
Ooh.
That is the character for martial, as in martial arts. It has a third tone, so it is pronounced woo. And if you combine that with this character, you get woo, shoo, woo, shoo, which literally means martial arts. We talked about this once before. Gong Fu does not mean martial arts. Wu Shu means martial arts. But these words only have one vowel. So your tone is always going to be on the vowel that is available. However, this is one of my favorite characters. And I'm going to leave that up just to show you a difference. But this is one of my favorite characters. This is the second character I ever learned. And that is the character for Jian, which means sword. And I love Nick to death. He is one of my favorite people in the world. And there are so many other people that do the same thing, but this is not pronounced Jin. It's just not. If you can't say the word, that's fine. It's cool. I get it. Not everyone can do tones, but this is G because there's no, see, this has two vowels. There's no accent over the I. So it's a fifth tone, technically. It is G, N. Jian, Jian. And this, just because we're talking languages, this pisses me off. I do not like simplified characters. It takes a lot of the, it just takes away from the word. And there are people who agree and there are people who disagree. But this is the character that I learned. This is the character that I will doodle just because I can. And it has a third tone. So this could also be written with a 3 at the end here. So if we go back to the dictionary and we go over here and we write Jian 3, well, that's just dumb. It actually gives you every single time. You can tell I've never done this. It actually gives you every. It's because I put the wrong number. That's a fourth tone, not a third tone. Try that again. Jian 4. And it shows you every single character that has that tone. And right there comes right back to it. Got to the point where Sarah could interpret the thickest of Mandarin accents for colleagues, looking forward to diversity, people all over the world. Diversity is good. Oh, it's not not really more or less. She's flat out right. The shape of the accent is literally how the tone sounds. Back to listening mode. Do you often get multiple different tones in the same word? Not if it's a single character, no. If it's a single character like Tien, you get one tone. But if you're putting words together, you're putting like Xiaguan there, then yeah, you'll get different tones. But if it's a single character, it's one tone. Takes the nuance out. Okay, let me show you another one. This, when we get to traditional, this is the character for love. It has a fourth tone, so it's pronounced I. Your A is going to drop. Here, let's play this.
I.
See?
I.
I. Right here in the center of the traditional character. I'm going to see if you can. Right here. In the middle of the word for love is the character for heart. These 4 strokes right here is the character for heart. So in the middle of the word love, in the middle of the character is the character for heart. If you look at the simplified version, it's not there. They replace it with just 2 strokes. It takes the heart out of the word, literally and figuratively. That's why I don't like simplified. It takes away from the beauty of the character. It takes away the meaning of the word. Let's go back to sword. Look at that. You took the center out of the word and just replaced it with 3 strokes. Well, 4, I guess. But that is beautiful. That is fluid. That is poetry right there. You take that away and you just throw in random strokes, it doesn't look good. Mini rant mode over. But that's basically it. And this is why he's taken up calligraphy again. Again. It is a dying art. Because there are people out there who insist on using simplified characters, and traditional characters are dying. So people like me are trying to bring it back. So those are your 5 tones. Tone number 1, long, flat vowel. Ma. Tone number 2, rising vowel. Ma. Tone 3, dropping and rising or combination vowel. Ma. Tone 4, dropping vowel. Ma. And tone 5, neutral vowel. Ma. Just like teaching kids cursive. Yes. So, Trey, do you have any other questions on tones? We got a few more minutes to go. Hey, Chris is joining us. Hi, Thesis in chat. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Would probably end up saying the wrong word. Yeah, you know that thing that I shared to the humor group about Spanish and making sure you're saying the right word? Años versus anos. Same thing here. $33 años, 33 years. 33 años, 33 assholes. Chinese is a very tonal language. If you want to say something, Foxy and Donna agree, Chris. Foxy does that often. Issues here in the different tones, yeah. Are there regional accents or changes? Okay. Yes. The character is the same. So, stupid cough. Yeah, but I've only done it twice in an hour. So I think I'm doing okay. When I brought up the character for sword, in Mandarin, that is pronounced Tian. You have a dropping vowel, fourth tone. T, N, N. In Cantonese, which is spoken in Hong Kong and in some of the lower parts of China, that is pronounced Kim. That has a third tone. So it's going to E, Kim. It's going to drop and rise. And there are various other regional dialects of Chinese. There's Fukienese, there's a specific dialect just in Beijing. There are lots and lots of variations of Chinese. That's why it annoys me when people say they speak Chinese or ask, do you speak Chinese? Because do you speak Mandarin? Do you speak Cantonese? Do you speak? I was told once by a native speaker that when I'm speaking Mandarin, I have a very Beijing accent. And I didn't really understand what that meant until I met people from all over China. And they were all speaking they were all speaking the same language, but with different dialects and different regional accents. So, still not over that illness. No, I'm not. And it's mostly just the cough. I don't have a fever. I'm not cold. It's just, but at least it's not keeping me up at night having coughing fits. until I vomit every single hour on the hour. That's what I was confused about when the page you showed said Chinese to English and vice versa. Which one? Yeah. Well, that page will show you, if you look down farther, what the word is in Cantonese as well. Or is it dialects with one main language? Yeah. Kind of like English in the US. Absolutely. Chris Fields for me, finally feeling better, and the cough is starting to ease up. Wow, yeah. We have regional accents. No kidding. Well, I haven't seen any more questions from Trey. So I'm hoping this was informative. And everywhere else can tell where someone came from in any country. Usually, yeah. The other thing that annoys me is when people make dumb racist statements like all Asian people, sound alike. No, they don't. No, they don't. Korean sounds vastly different from Mandarin. Cantonese sounds different from Mandarin. Japanese sounds different from all of them. Laotian, again, different. Hope it didn't say your vote. No. I'll be fine. I got my hot tea. I'm doing all right. Answered all the questions I have and then some. Cool. I'm glad. Worst one Foxy ever encountered was a fellow with a Jamaican accent, but he spoke New York speed. I've been to Jamaica. That was quite a linguistic adventure in and of itself. When it goes up in tone during a word, how do you know what's a question versus a statement? Okay, that's a good question. Thank you, Sarah. Usually, questions in Chinese are almost always going to end with the neutral tone. So, again, 你叫什么? Ma. There's no tone. There's no rising there. 为什么? 为什么 means why. 为什么? Again, ma. No tone. So, most of the time, a question in Chinese isn't going to raise that way. 你叫什么? 为什么? It's going to have a flat, even, neutral tone. Have you heard me speak when I'm not trying to cough up a lung? Yes, I did last night. Carl will see if he can pick up Voice of China on the shortwave just to listen for tones. It's good practice. But you have to listen because depending on who's speaking, they might speak really quickly. And you can miss the tone. Just for fun, I'm going to bring this back up just to show you something funny. Ooh. Literally had a video of John Cena and Jackie Chan speaking and Jackie correcting the tone he used come up on my feed. Cool. All right, we're going to bring this back up because I'm going to show you something funny. Oh, go away, you. See this right here? This is a question using, 4 of the 5 tones of the same sound in one sentence. So we're going to do this slowly once. So the first 2 characters are the character for mother. So that has the long, flat tone. So it's mama, mama, ma, ma. Now you notice the second one doesn't have an accent over it. So it's ma, 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 ma. Your second one has a dropping accent. Ma. The third has the combination. Ma and the neutral question tone. Ma. So this question would sound like ma, 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 ma. It's just mama, ma, ma, ma. Just for fun. Mama, mama, mama. No wonder they're so smart, inventive. They're learning an insane amount since the very beginning. Imagine being tone deaf. Yeah. U of I is a university for a lot of technology and inventions. Would be pretty awful, yeah. That's what a lot of them are there for, and they bring their entire families because Chinese culture, family is very important. But we are over the hour. I have thankfully answered any question that Trey had and more. Next week will not be tea time. We're going to hold that off until the 25th. Next week, I'm going to be discussing what a wulin is. We had the Historical Fencing Guild yesterday. And Ruby was talking to Nick and asked if a guild is similar to a wulin. She spelled it wrong. She spelled it phonetically. But she wanted to know if they were similar. So that's what we're going to be discussing next week. We're going to be discussing what a wulin is. And possibly some other various terms that go along with a wulin. And hey, wu, third tone. Lin, fourth tone. Wu, lin. Good show. Thank you. Another great show. Thank you. 10 likes. Nice. I always appreciate that. You're welcome. Ruby, you're always welcome here. If you have questions, I mean, we've spoken some, but if you ever have questions for me, did I say 2 weeks? No, next week. 2 weeks will be the 25th. That will be the tea time. If I can't get anyone else on, she is volunteered, so we'll figure it out. It is a good thing. I'm glad. Sounds like another interesting topic. I hope so. Did you hear that? I don't know. I don't know if I said 2 weeks or next week. I don't know if I don't know. Been up for 20. Jesus, Sarah, go get some sleep. My God. Next week, every week, unless, I'm sick. And I'm going to have to be pretty sick to not want to hang out with all of my sword family. So, love you guys. Days are messed up, yeah. Later, everyone. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. And a special thanks to Joe Bachman and Dan Hollifield for being my patrons. It's not much, but I appreciate it. Have a nice evening, and I think we will end on that note. I will see you all next week. 再见。